laced up.
Let's go!
It's time for Banter with the boys.
Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back to Banter with the boys. With a little bit of a different thing going on. Let's just bring everybody in right away to start. Obviously, I'm Smelty. Right to my left here is Joe. Joe, how's it going?
Excited to be here. Super excited to be here. Looking forward to geeking out a little bit.
Geeking out. Foretell. Kev, on my right. Usually Kev is behind the scenes doing everything. Obviously, he's also on our Wild podcast or Minnesota Hockey Show, whatever we're calling that now going forward. But that's Kev. Kev, what's going on?
What's up, everybody? Happy to be here. Happy to start talking a little bit about some video games and just kind of see what we get into. It is weird being in front of the camera, so forgive me. This is what I look like, but it's gonna be a good time. It's fun to be on this side of the camera, and you'll see me kind of clicking around and whatnot. I'm still in control, but also involved. So this will be a fun one. Let's get it going, boys.
I don't think you need to apologize to anybody when they got to look at this. But
that anyway. Is true. We apologize for all of this in advance.
So yeah, no. So the purpose of this is it's definitely just a test, and if it turns out well, we're just going to release it anyway, just a little bit of extra content. But we're kind of just testing out the multiple camera angles, all that. You've seen a little bit of video before with our card videos, but we want to be bringing you the banter on video, whether that's the NFL pod, F1, even the hockey pod, going forward. So we definitely want to, give it a go. So we decided to pick a random topic of video games. All three of us play video games. I'm going to go ahead and say I'm not super knowledgeable in video games, but I definitely play my fair share. So yeah, let's just get right into it. Kind of like background though is kind of what I'm thinking we got to start with.
Sure.
So, Kev, let's start with you. What is your, I guess, video game experience, if we call it that, in video games?
Sure. So my video game experience started way back when I was young. My original system was a Nintendo 64. I didn't go anything further back than that.
I need one of those.
I actually have one. Funny enough, it's in the garage, but it's just like disgusting and all nasty and like weird and gross. So maybe one day we'll do a little project and we'll fix it up. But
yes, that will be happening. That project will be happening.
Yeah. So Nintendo 64 was the first system that I had, and then we moved over to a PlayStation 1. That was one of the systems that I had for a little bit there as well. I thought I was cooler than anything else, but obviously I realized that wasn't a whole lot to be bragging about. And then moved on to Xbox, the OG Xbox, on a 360. Xbox.
The big old black with the green. Yep.
Yeah, that's the one. Yep. And then moved on to Xbox One, the original Xbox One, which I still have to this day. Still play games on it.
Good.
And then I've got the PlayStation 4 that my brother-in-law has up in his room. So got a handful of systems. I do have a gaming PC as well, but I don't play on it ever anymore. We'll get into some of that stuff later on, but that's like funny enough. It's actually what's running this. So hopefully things cooperate with us. But yeah, that's my history for what I've got and what I've kind of been through. So.
Yeah. Kev's gaming experience, we're calling it.
Yeah.
Joe, what's your gaming experience?
Gaming experience goes back to my dad's Super Nintendo. Never got to play the N64. I think he had that when he was at his dad's house, but in our house it was the N64. Shortly after that it was the GameCube. That's probably like the big main one I think I played a lot of.
You still have the GameCube?
I do.
Nice.
I took that with me when I moved out. It hasn't seen. It's purple. Oh yeah, classic. It has not seen a video game inside of it in many years. But it is definitely like the one. Like it's the console that I played probably the most when I was growing up.
Sure.
We upgraded to a Wii after that. That was fun for a little while.
Forgot about the Wii,
cool.
man.
It's the Wii. Yeah. Oh. We played with the Wii for a little bit, and this was probably when we were just getting out of elementary school a little bit. Probably around elementary school, maybe around middle school. Our parents, we finally were able to convince them to get us an Xbox 360 with Call of Duty. It was on eBay. It came in an old crusty bed sheet. We don't want to talk about that. My parents, I wasn't crusty, but it was definitely old. Like it came in a bed sheet. My parents
Where did this come from?
That's weird. eBay. We got it.
I know.
Do
you remember where it shipped from?
No idea.
It was
that
from
was
eBay.
so long ago. We were blinded by having an Xbox 360.
For sure, you didn't even care.
Modern Warfare 2.
Just turn on and play the game.
Yeah, exactly. So we had the Xbox 360. We had Modern Warfare 2. We were set.
Classic.
Obviously, we got games here and there from there. But this was also around the time. In the background, Dad's not a console player. He's a PC nerd. He works on them. He plays PC games.
Okay.
That was around the time that I started getting to PC games. And I started playing on the computer. Internet was bad. The computer was decent in terms of what it could run, but at that point, I had no idea about them.
Sure.
Okay.
That kind of set me up for life. I definitely went through an Xbox One. I think that's before the Xbox Series S, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So
Yep.
I still have the Xbox One, but
This guy.
I'm a console. I'm not a console. I'm a PC guy, right? That's what I'm rocking with. That's what I have.
Were you
been
about to
rocking
say
with.
that when you were about to explain the Xbox, were you about to say you went through an Xbox phase or something?
No,
Felt like that's what you were about to say. I
No,
was
no,
like,
So
that's
like
just-
when we got the 360, that was my Xbox phase. That was like my console phase per se. But like once the computer was there, it was jumping around a little bit between the two, but it was mostly computer because I found out all the other stuff that a computer could do.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's superior, I guess. But like I think there's definitely pros and cons to
That'll
both.
be a conversation.
That'll definitely be
Get
a
us in there.
conversation. I
Yeah.
think obviously, I'm talking a lot. But yeah, it's been a
fine.
PC from there on forward. I haven't gotten any other console yet. Yeah, that's my background.
Nice.
All right. Well, you said Super Nintendo is what you
Super
started on?
Nintendo,
Oh, okay.
yep.
So mine's not quite as old as that, I don't think. I think that came out definitely before this. But so I started on a Sega Genesis.
Oh, the Sega, yeah.
My dad had one growing up or whatever, and definitely like a game called Zero Tolerance, Road Rash, a bunch of different stuff. NBA Jam, that was lit. But yeah, and then Sega Genesis, then jumped into a Dreamcast, and then which is awesome by the way, and underrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dreamcast.
Oh yeah, I still have one of those too.
Well, you got a whole collection though. We haven't even got into that yet. Like,
It's not that big. I want it to
Well-
be that big. That'd be cool.
yeah. Well,
Just
you've got.
a big console collection. I need a purple GameCube.
Oh, purple game.
I know a guy.
And yeah,
I may
he's not
know a
selling
guy.
it.
It's not for sale.
Listen, if he took that already,
It's-
that's not leaving his
Oh yeah,
hands.
definitely not.
It
It's
hasn't seen a
staying-
game in forever. It's not leaving
That's
his
true.
hands.
It's
It might
probably
not
sitting
even
there.
work, to be honest.
Yeah.
At the table, my bad. But yeah, and then after the PS2, I think then it went 360, and then Xbox One, and then One X, and then now Series X, and I, have dabbled with the PS4 and have a PS5 as well. But
Okay.
so that's I have them both. I don't know if one's superior or not. I don't
Sure.
know. We can maybe touch on that later, but that would be my experience. I have no PC gaming experience. I was just talking to Joe right before this. I would like to maybe get into that, but very entry level. I'm not spending. He's like, if you want to get crazy, he's just like, no. No, I'm not spending that. So
They can get pricey for sure. Let's just be real.
yeah, no, for sure. So let's just keep it moving here. What, I guess, if you had to pick one video game, I'll start with you, Joe, since I started with Kev last time.
Yeah.
I know this is a doozy. If you had to pick one video game that brings you like your fondest memory, whether that's childhood, adult life, whatever it may be, like
Mhm.
if there's a video game that just reminds you of something or whatever, what would that be?
Man, this is hard for me because I feel like I have three answers.
I mean, you could just lay them on us.
I'm
too.
gonna
Tell us
give
what you got, Joe.
I'm gonna give one. I'm gonna try to give one, and then maybe we'll lead into the other ones. But like, this is PC. So this is I'm in my PC phase, right? I'm fully into that. There is a game that you get on Steam. It's a platform where you can get games play games off of. There's a game called Gary's Mod. It was Gmod for short. There was no like goal or set. There's no goal or like set path that you had to take within Gmod. It was a physics sandbox engine. So you could do pretty much anything you wanted within the limits of what the game offered. So like it was like taking rag dolls or like different cars, and you had like a physics gun that you'd be able to like move stuff around with. And you could create game modes within this game that people would enjoy. So you would have like FPS games within this game. You would have like driving games within this game. You would have like role play servers within this game.
Wow.
And I put this to date is the most played game, and I played it pretty much every single day when I was in like middle school and kind of entering high school.
Okay.
On Steam, I have 1,700 hours logged into this game.
Whoa.
Definitely my most played game by far. I have like it beats out my
Since when? When did you start? Middle school, you said?
yeah. This is when I was young.
1,700.
Yeah, 1,700 hours. Summers where I wasn't working. It hasn't reached a
Let's see.
year, but it's definitely up there.
That's not you. Wow, I just made it look.
Yeah, so I
myself
think
look really dumb.
because of how much time,
71 days.
71 days.
days. How many
Yeah,
years is
rookie
that?
number.
Wow.
My brother
71 days,
somehow
jeez.
my brother breached 2,000 on this game. It meant a lot to us. We were playing it all the time, and I think
That's
just because of
crazy.
how much time we synced into it, and I like my friends list on Steam. not entirely, but almost entirely consists of people that I met in this game, and then we stuck kind of around. We played other games together, so it kind of means a lot to all of us. I haven't touched it in years.
Sure.
I'll say. I think it's not that it's aged well. It's just my interest kind of went away from that.
Sure.
I also had to start working eventually, right?
What? No way.
So
Eventually.
I think I think I had to pick that one just because it was such like it was literally a part of my life.
Sure.
In some
Heck yeah.
cases.
Okay.
I have two other ones, but I don't want to take up all the time. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say.
Want me to go? Or you want to go, Spencer?
Well, I just wanted to point out really
for it.
quick that you said 1,700 hours and I said years, and it turns out that in one calendar year there's 8,760
$7,000 off.
in
Yeah,
a year.
you're there, but you know,
I was close, man. That's how I feel if I go to the casino. That's how I would feel, I guess. But that close. But anyway, Kev,
Yeah.
What video game brings you your fondest memory?
Yeah, so there's a couple for sure. The biggest one that was like the game that I played all the way through. For me, I don't have the patience to play a game start to finish for the vast majority of games that I play. However, when I was in like junior to senior year of high school, a buddy of mine had a PlayStation 3 back in the day, and there was a game called Infamous. It was PlayStation only.
Yeah.
And it was a game that I was just dedicated to. It was only at his house. I didn't have a PlayStation back then. So when I played it, it was like a privilege almost. Like you go to your buddy's house, you grab some crappy pizza, you grab some soda or whatever, and then you're just playing video games until you throw up or till 3 a.m. and your mom tells you to go to bed. That's kind of what it was. It was those nights where it was just like you're up until the crack of dawn, just playing and hanging out with your boys. And that was the game that we played. And I played that both games, Infamous 1 and 2, all the way through, which is the only two games that I can remember except for one other game that I'll talk about later on that I played in full. And that to me was something that just stood out to me because the game was really cool. I mean, Joe, you know a little bit about it.
Infamous was the game that when we went to Target or Best Buy, it would be on demo and I would always play.
It's such a cool game. So super long story short, you're this guy named Cole and you have the ability to use like your hands and like connect to electrical things. So it's like subway rails and stuff in the city. You can kind of like grind along them with like your electrical powers, but throughout the game, you have to complete missions. And then some of those missions are good and some of those missions are like evil. So throughout the game, amongst doing your regular missions, you have the ability to do like a neutral mission or something more good or something more evil. And that kind of just depicts on how the game goes throughout the rest of the game. So just like overall for me, again, that was the game that really stuck out.
Was that on?
This is PlayStation only. This is PS3 and PS4. There's been 2 additional games. There was Infamous Second Son, which was like not a spin-off, but more of like a DLC for the second game. Then there was the final one called like Infinite War or Infinite something. I'm drawing a blank. I apologize. But it was effectively like a sequel to the second game, almost a third game. And that one was a standalone game on its own.
It was Second Son, right?
Second Son, and there was a third one, or like a fourth game called like Infinite something or other.
First Light, maybe?
There you go. Yes.
Okay.
I'm not sure where Infinite came from. I apologize. But
No,
yes.
you're good, yeah.
So that was the game to me that really stood out. Again, yes, because of the game, but also because of like the company that I was with, right? So sometimes when I think of a game that I like, I'm like, oh, I remember listening to this album while like playing this game until my heart's content. So like for me, it was like I was with my best buddy before I left for college when I finished the second game. Like those are the memories that I remember a ton and I'm super fond of still to this day. So I'm tempted to like kick Eric, my brother-in-law, off the PlayStation one of these days and snag an OG like used copy of those 2 games and just grind it out because again, they mean a lot to me and they're a lot of freaking fun. So
Dude,
you're a PlayStation guy. You gotta at least give it a shot.
I gotta try that game.
It's good, dude. I think first of all, like kind of early for its time, the decision making of being able to do either this good or bad thing, it goes into one of my all-time favorite games that I'll mention later.
Yeah.
That and also just the mechanics alone, like revolutionized. I don't know, maybe we're not revolutionized, but it was.
What year did it come out? Just since you have it.
Infamous came out in 2009. 2 was 2011, so it was like every 3 or 2 years they came out with another one.
And I graduated in 2011, just for the record. So that's why I was like, kind of like I played the first one till death. And
did
like,
they
I finished
re-release the original on PS4? Or did it come out on PS4 too, as well? Like
I don't remember.
I
To be
think it
honest,
was-
with
I
you.
think it was
Infamous. Only PS3.
I think it was an exclusive, was it not?
It was exclusive
Well, no,
to
no,
PlayStation.
I know.
only,
I'm saying like, did it re-release on PS4 when PS4 dropped? Because 2009 is
Oh.
PS4 out in 2009 yet?
It would not have re-released unless they made a remaster of it. And I
Right.
don't think they did.
So if I
so
want
you
an
would have
OG
to, like,
one, it's PS3.
yeah,
Mhm.
probably. Unless PS4 does backwards compatibility. I don't know
Which
if they do.
I don't think they do.
I know
I can't
Xbox.
remember.
I
I
know
know
Xbox does it.
there's
pretty
only, like,
decently
one
now.
PS3.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's only like one PS3 that was backwards compatible with
Okay.
like the PS2s. It's like
Gotcha.
a special gig, like the 60 gig or what. I don't even know.
They've probably
But-
made like a remaster. I don't know if they have, but like I
I'm gonna
would
look,
assume
though.
that somebody made a remaster for it. And if not, though, like even like I said, like we have a PS3 upstairs still.
Do you?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you only had the PS4. And
No, we have a PS3
and your
still
nephew,
upstairs.
or your,
Our brother-in-law still has
brother-in-law.
it. Yep, we have a PS3. It's actually funny enough. It's down here on the corner.
Oh,
It just is not being used at all. We
I
used
still
to
need
use it
add
for a
one of those
Blu-ray.
too to the collection.
We used to use it for like a Blu-ray player because
Yeah,
it
there you
was
go.
like a cheap option because I already had it. So
Yeah,
100%.
I had a PS4,
100%.
didn't need to use it. So my wife used that in one of our guest bedrooms or like in our actual like master bedroom. Then I had like my PlayStation, like the living room, like on the nice TV, or like had it like in my
Yeah,
game room in my
yeah,
office
yeah.
or whatever. So
Yeah.
that's So Infamous to me is the game that I really stand out a lot for me. For like this game is forever synchromented or like stuck in my heart.
I love that.
So-
That's such an awesome answer.
Such a cool game. I love the game. I really hope that you get to play it.
Yeah, dude.
It's-
You are
for sure.
locked to that console. I just
For
checked.
sure.
No backwards compatibility, and they did not. They
PS3
have
only?
not. PS3 only, and they have not remastered it yet. People are begging
Oh,
for
I need a
it.
PS3
Wow.
then.
But-
I need to
Well,
go get a PS3 then.
yeah.
That's what that means.
Ruh-roh.
eBay.
Ruh-roh. Oh, I
eBay,
know,
get
dude.
it, get it
Yeah,
covered in an old blanket,
I'm unfortunately on eBay.
An old crusty
an
blanket.
old crusty blanket.
Yeah, well, but only if I get it in an old crusty blanket. That's the only way I'll have
That's
it.
part of the
Yeah.
part of the
The
experience.
allure, yeah.
Like if that's not in the description, then I don't
That's a
want
game
it.
mechanic.
Then I don't
Hey.
want it, I guess.
It doesn't come with roaches. It's not going to function properly.
Yeah, yeah. Oh God, yeah. Now it's real, Kev. Now you've made it real.
Sorry, I could have said bed bugs. That would have made it better.
Oh, man.
No, okay. So I guess for my fondest memory would be I don't know. It's kind of stuck between two.
Okay.
I guess yeah, both involve my brother, I guess. But I guess I would do Zero Tolerance on the Sega Genesis actually.
Okay.
So even in the mid 2000s, we're sitting there playing Sega Genesis, and we both sucked at it actually, but it was like this, first person shooter game, as you can imagine. What year did that come out?
This is old school,
Yeah.
1994.
Oh wow.
1994.
There are like
this game
5
came
pixels
out.
on the
I was
screen.
born in '95, and my brother's younger than me. So in mid 2000s, we're playing Sega Genesis, but we just could never get past like. I don't know if it was level 3 or whatever it was, but we could
Sure.
just never get past it. So
There's always one level in a game too that just you cannot beat. When you do beat it, it's just like you've conquered the earth and all of its problems.
but we
right?
continue to play it all the time.
Of course.
We knew we
Yeah.
weren't getting past that level, but we keep playing it
Yep.
all the time. And the dude always made at some point you got to watch a video of that tonight.
Mhm.
Zero Tolerance, because like when you'd shoot the guy, he'd make just the goofiest noise. I don't know if they were aliens or what, but I can't remember the story on it or whatnot.
Heck,
But
they have it on Steam. I might even buy it. It's pretty cheap right now.
Uh-oh.
And it's still got really good reviews. They released it on PC in 2020 so
Well,
yeah.
really,
yeah.
bargain.
It's gonna look like, don't get me wrong, there's gonna be
The
huge
opening-
boxes on the side.
the
and-
opening music is like,
Oh,
Is that nostalgic
clutch.
for you?
Oh,
You hear
dude,
the game
if
over
I
in your
heard that, I
sleep?
would know exactly what game.
oh
that
my
is,
god. That should be
100%.
something that we talk. I don't think we have it in our agenda here, but we should talk about video game music at some point
Sure.
because I feel like I could also talk about that for hours.
I
It's
could
just-
too. I'm
yeah.
more of a sports game guy. If that
Yep.
wasn't evident, my T Wolves
So
are
you
in
can't
game,
really see it here. Let's
game
change
2 right
cameras.
now.
Even
There you go.
sports games have some good music sometimes.
Hey,
You know?
you know
Oh,
what?
yeah.
Sports
2K.
games are a lot of what I play, and a lot of the sports games, like soundtracks, have been upgraded
Okay.
as of late. So
Can I just say really, really quick,
Yeah.
because we
Yeah.
have an F1 podcast, F120, the most recent
23?
F1 23, actually F122, banger soundtrack.
Really?
I did not really like listen to drum and bass a ton. That game. Oh my gosh, that whole year
Now
I
you
looked
listen
at
to
my recap. It's all drum and bass pretty much.
Yeah.
Really?
That game
Whoa.
sent me onto it.
I never
think
never
that-
would have pegged you as a drum and bass kind of guy.
Me
But
either.
also like not from a video game either. I would have been like,
Me either.
oh, your
Yeah,
buddy
it's
turned you
just-
on to it. or,
You go onto F1 and you just start getting hyped by that drum and bass. Makes
Yeah.
you want to race, you know?
Oh my god, nice. I think F122 might still be on Game Pass. I might have to download it just to
Ooh,
go,
just to hear
just
it.
to go listen to it. Not, I mean,
Definitely.
Yeah.
you can't
Is
just
the-
usually you can't just pull a sports game out of nowhere. I mean, some of them have had really good, like
Yeah.
NHL 04 sticks out for me, but
Okay.
the like F1 though, that's crazy. Now I really got to check that out.
Yeah.
because
It
I
was
have
just-
F123 for sure, but I
Yeah,
think I
oh,
went
yeah.
21 and then 23. I don't think I played 22.
Oh, really?
So I might have just missed the
hard.
best soundtrack ever.
You might have.
We'll talk. I think we're going to talk about this later, but like, yeah, it's hard to go back to sports games when there's a new one created every single year. So
100%.
we'll definitely talk about
100%,
that. I think I have some stuff to say. So.
Oh boy. Oh boy. All right. Well, with that, let's just cut here for a sec, Kev, and then we'll head right into what I like to call the meat of the sandwich.
I like it.
Meat of the sandwich.
Right.
Think so?
Right back at it again. The meat of the sandwich, like I said. So let's just dive right in.
Meat of the Sammy.
Let's just dive right into the Sammy. Is console literally versus PC, like hate each other? Is that really still a legitimate argument in the year 2024? Or is there uses for each one? Or is it like, yes, dude, like if you like, yes, there's that argument.
Who wants to kick us off?
Whoever wants to start.
Joe, I can tell Joe's cooking over there. Go ahead, Joe.
I promise I'm not cooking that much.
You are.
Okay, listen. I have an Xbox One. I touch it every 1 or 2 months when the boys
move it across the room, or
yeah,
what?
pretty much, yeah. When the boys want to jump on zombies, we'll play a little bit of that.
Okay.
Other than that, it's I'm not using it.
Sure.
I don't care if people want to use console. I think excuse me. I think consoles are good in that you get the best of the best next generation immediately versus having a PC. If you want the best of the best, you have to be upgrading that thing every couple of years. So I've run into that. I've run into people getting like the PlayStation 5 and getting those, first of all, the exclusive games that they have. So that's another thing that I miss out on. I didn't get to play Spider-Man, God of War, all of those stuff. I didn't get to play those things until way after the release date, way after. And when you get those games on the PlayStation 4, you get stuff like ray tracing, you get like amazing graphics, you get really the gameplay itself. Versus on a PC, if you've had this PC for a while, it's been a while since you upgraded it, and you do get that game eventually, it's not going to run as nicely as it would. Like it's made for console in some scenarios. I'm gonna think about that. GTA 6. They've not stated a release date for PC yet. That means I'm like a chump going to have to get an Xbox Series X.
Yes, you will.
Just for GTA.
That's fine.
That's all I'm doing.
Join the club.
You can play
Mike. You could. Oh, dang. I was about to make a point, I thought, but I was going to say you can play Flight Sim on there, but you could play that on a PC too.
Yeah, there's so much. I think
play way better on a PC than
Xbox.
Dude.
Xbox exclusives, I get on my PC anyway.
Like, right, exactly. That's why I was like, that's not even an argument.
I think they have us beat there. You're going to get now. You can't upgrade your Xbox, right? I can always upgrade my PC. Granted,
to a point, right? Before you got,
and I'm at that point, so I'm going to need to rebuild the whole thing if I want to upgrade again. We'll talk about that later, but. In terms of console versus PC, I'm always going to, if I get the opportunity to boast about the PC and the performance and all that fun stuff, I'm probably going to take it. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to dog on someone for just having a console. Consoles are easy. They're accessible. In some cases, in most cases, they're probably more cheap. And, if you're not a crazed hardcore and you haven't had a PC for as long as I have, it just doesn't make sense. So.
Well, right. And like you started touching on price point a little bit, and that's just it, right? Like you can go buy an Xbox. You should go buy an Xbox Series X tomorrow.
I'm not doing it tomorrow.
Anyway. Might as well.
I'm not doing it tomorrow.
But tomorrow
I'm thinking I'm waiting for it to go on sale and then I'm probably pulling the trigger, but they went on sale, I think, late last year. I'm hoping.
Yeah, for $450. But I mean, hey, if you want to say $50, but
anything's better.
$50 because
it's a console.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. Oh my god. But anyway, you could go buy that. Okay, let's say it's on sale for $450, and right before we started recording, you were telling me, like, I was like, I want just a basic gaming PC, just to get into it. I just want iRace, probably, which I probably but like he was saying, unless I just changed his mind, but he was saying. Before we started recording, to get into a PC is like $700 to $800 for like a pre-built. I think probably not including monitor and all that stuff, which I have a monitor, like a nice one. Like, but does that change at all? Did that price point just change at all?
thinking about the peripherals, it's definitely you're right, because you got to think about the monitor, the keyboard, the mouse, the speakers. If you
but I'm not
want
including that
a
though.
desk, a computer.
I'm just talking about
PC
like
itself,
the PC itself. Yeah,
I think
I can piece together.
if you're not as
I can't build a PC.
Yeah, if you're not as crazy as me or crazy as my friends who are all like PC, PC beats all, really, then you probably don't need anything more than I would have. I mean, prices are really high right now. I would say $600 is going to get you a decent gaming PC. You're not going to be able to max all of your settings out.
More than
it's not. You're not going to be able to max all the settings out, but I think you're going to get an okay gaming PC. And you'll be able to upgrade it if you do want to make that step forward. So if you wanted to get to that $1,500 price point, you can.
But at that point, do you just sell the starting one and then just start somewhere else and build it, or you just keep upgrading the starter one?
Pieces, you put new ones in. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm a little bit on the opposite lens that I think your base starting point is going to be easily $1,200 minimum for a desktop.
Whoa.
I think with just the price right now of graphics cards in general, in order for you to be at...
I need shocks on my truck.
Well, no games for you. I think...
No shocks.
There you go. Priorities, right? I just think it's going to be you're going to be really hard pressed to find a gaming PC pre-built with a solid graphics card in it that you're going to be able to run 30 to 60 frames per second minimum. I just, especially just because you don't need the rest of the peripherals, right? I mean, you're going to need them right away, but if we're not including them, right? If we're not including them in the price point, I still think you're at least $1,200 minimum for a decent processor. Motherboards are kind of whatever. Like the basic ones have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and whatever in them. But I feel like with a basic right now with video games for PCs are demanding of its components, and the users are demanding of it, I think you're easily over 1,000 at least. It could be closer to 12, maybe 15 for something like crazy good. But again, like Joe mentioned, you're going to have to replace these components repetitively over the next 3 to 4 years, give or take. Maybe even more
There's
than
always
that.
new stuff coming out, always updates and crap too.
But of course, the more you spend off the rip, I feel like the less you're going to have to spend in the long term, because you're going to be able to make that last a little bit longer. So,
but you're saying for like 8 years maybe, and then you just
I wouldn't
have
go
to
8 years. I think that's a stretch. But you can make it last however long you want to. It's just your experience will deteriorate over time.
So then would you just upgrade it then as the new stuff comes out, or would you just get to a point, let it roll, get to a point, and then just like, you know what? This one's going down the road, selling it to Smeltsy for cheap because he needs one, and then you're just going to upgrade and buy a brand new one then? Or would you rather upgrade each piece by piece? Like,
I'd upgrade each piece by piece. I feel like that's just the way to go. Because every motherboard nowadays is compatible with the latest technology. There's not like in my opinion, I don't think there's crazy great improvements from motherboard to motherboard. So if you upgrade if you have the nice solid overall motherboard, you can throw more RAM into that bad boy. You can throw more SSD storage on it. You can have a better graphics card on things. You have more options when it comes to that kind of stuff. So I feel like you can just have a better overall user experience with that.
Yeah.
With a better gaming PC right off the rip.
So, okay. So, yeah. So, Kev's saying I need to kind of bump it up a little bit right off the rip. But, I mean, I don't know. I think I'd probably start cheaper anyway because, again, I'm a console guy anyway. I mean, that's already been noted. But, yeah, I think I would go that route. Start kind of in your price range. Mm-hmm. Not tomorrow, but right. And then kind of upgrade over time, or after he said that. Now, does that make you backtrack slightly? Just like, well, maybe
I have more counterpoints.
Oh boy, yeah, lay it on us. Just do it up.
I do agree with Kevin. If you want a good gaming PC, it is going to cost around 1,000, probably more than that. But I do think there are things just under 1,000 that will get the job done for the time being, with the thought that you can upgrade eventually. I personally upgrade my computer when I realize that, hey, I can't run the latest and greatest things at the max quality like I'd like to. Then I know that maybe I gotta look at a new graphics card, or maybe it's time for a new CPU. That's kind of been my journey with my PC. Is once I realize that maybe something's going out of date, usually it's just the graphic card or the CPU. I'll get something new. Lately, I've had to do that a lot. I've had my PC for 7 years now, so. It's definitely getting to that point, and we have the same motherboard, so we're like, this is the last upgrades I've done, the CPU and the graphics card. Those are the last upgrades I'm going to be able to do. I'm going to have to rebuild a completely new computer after this, because that motherboard I don't think is going to support anything more because of how old it is. So that's another thing. But I've had that computer for 7 years.
Yep.
Every time you buy a new console, it's probably because you can't play the games on the older generations. They lock games in those
True,
newer generations, and that's just companies being companies.
That's a cash grab. That's what that is. That's just a cash grab. That's just what that is.
Yeah, it's companies being companies. We see that in the PC world too, in other different ways.
Yep.
But yeah, you want a decent one, you're going to spend a little bit of change for sure.
Okay.
Oh,
Sure.
what's your take?
No, I don't know. I don't know.
Why
You're
do you
not a
hate
PC
me and my
gamer, so
PC?
you wouldn't really know, I guess. You wouldn't be.
I'm not hating on PCs at all. That's why I said I want to get one to have one. But like, would I play it over my console? Probably not right away, just because I play with a bunch of different people and everybody's on console and blah blah blah.
Yep.
You know. But like for GTA 6, when they do come out with an eventual, hopefully, release date, like I'd like to have a decent one by then.
Mhm.
Or we touched on Cyberpunk as well. Like he just shakes his head.
I love that game so much, but it still doesn't run perfectly.
Sure.
I love it so much though. I love it.
So let's just move on from our console versus PC.
I have one last point to throw into the console versus PC, and we can scoot over. I think PCs are the way to go currently right now in the streaming era that we are in.
Oh, sure.
Streaming, no one streams like, hey, I got an Xbox
like playing
One.
off the cloud that you're saying, pretty much type
No,
deal, or what?
like live streaming, like Twitch and like Kick and that
for
kind of stuff.
sure.
No one does
For
that. I'm like,
sure.
I've got an Xbox One. Let me slap the streaming.
I've been trying to
effect in
figure
there.
that out actually,
can
and
do
I'm
it,
just like,
but no one
it
does.
seems like a complicated mess, and I don't really
Yep.
want to mess with
Yeah,
it.
and it's more
I think-
complicated when you do get a streaming computer to go alongside the console you're playing, which people do. But yeah, I feel like console
So then you
streaming
might
has
as well
got to
just-
be tough.
Then
Yeah.
you might as well just get a gaming computer right off the get go.
I mean,
Obviously that's what you guys
let's
are saying.
say you
but,
want to
like,
play. Hey, you want to play some Animal Crossing on your Switch? You can't do that on PC, so you got to find a way to connect it to the computer.
I mean,
that's all
that's
I'm
true.
saying. I
That's true.
haven't done it. I've
Yep.
played a lot of Animal Crossing, but I haven't tried streaming it. So I've seen it done.
Yep.
People find a way around
that's
it.
fair.
Yeah, so that's a big thing for me. I think we didn't hit on. I think the PC will always win in the efforts of today's like audience for streaming content. I think people are, no one's gonna, like I said, no one's gonna slap, let me go and watch someone play Xbox One on their Xbox One. That's like, hey, let me play an Xbox game via my PlayStation or
Somebody
my
will.
PC. Nah, but everybody that is
Somebody will though.
everybody who's streaming right now is on a PC. It's just the way to go.
It's
just the way to go.
I would think so, but
It's just the way to go.
I mean, stepping away from gaming, a PC does a lot of other things too.
well, and that's just it.
And I think
I have that in mind too.
I think our console companies are trying to make them more accessible to do other things as well. But
Yep.
what are you going to prefer? A keyboard that you already know how to
Yeah.
type on, or controller that you're kind of minimized
wait,
to?
wait. But Microsoft will come out with their own Xbox keyboard then that you can connect to.
You're right.
You know, and then
more
you're and then
money
you're
to give to
good.
Microsoft.
Exactly.
Let's go.
Cash grab. Yay. Sorry, I had to throw that in there. I think that's
I
a
love
really
that.
big
No,
key
100%.
point.
I mean, that kind of leads us into the next point. Like you said, cash grab. Well,
Yep.
now you're looking at these video games, especially I know for me too, playing a lot of sports games, and I know it's in other games, whether that's Fortnite or Call of Duty. It happens a lot, but like it's becoming more like pay to play in a sense.
Sure.
And obviously that is the definition probably of a big cash grab.
That's exactly what that is.
Other than just straight profits, is there any other reason they would be doing that? I mean, obviously that's the answer, and people are going to pay it though. That's the thing. Like everybody would have to stop paying for it to stop, and that's just never going to happen.
The worst takes that I've seen and that I'm so afraid of, because I've seen them more and more as time goes on, are game companies saying that you buying the game one time and then getting a ton of hours into it is not fair to them, and that you should be paying a subscription price to play their game and get that entertainment. Like,
Or get
all
the
time.
DLC now.
So like
to
a perfect
expand.
example that I think Microsoft is doing, I think a good job on it, is their Game Pass, right? You pay this monthly thing. Obviously you get a ton of games to do it, but you do have to pay a monthly recurring charge to play these games.
You do.
Right?
Yeah.
I think Microsoft
I'm a
is
sucker for that one.
okay at it right now because I think their rates are low enough, but those
There's
are
a lot of
There
a lot of games on there, and there's a lot
Yeah.
of 360 games on there, which is kind of cool too.
Yeah, but that's something I'm afraid of. And in terms of everything else, I mean, games are now up to $70 when they were $60
Insane.
beforehand.
60 is already a lot.
And every game has a deluxe and a platinum edition, which
Well,
I'm a sucker for some of them.
I am too.
A game
and
that
some
I
of my
love, I'll
sports
definitely get
ones
up.
like
But
an idiot.
they're getting higher. They're getting higher. I mean, I think last one I saw, it was like a 70 base, and then it got all the way up to like 150.
Yeah,
I think.
I've seen 179. I think.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't want to
can't
say
remember
it.
what it was,
Yeah,
but I
can't
thought I
either.
saw 179 for like the deluxe.
Some deluxe garbage
like,
nonsense. That,
Dude,
well, I think like the sports games, like the deluxe options are always going to be a thing because like people who play the Ultimate Team, they're always going to get a ton of goofy packs or like heart. You're rolling your eyes exactly right now because you're the sucker for that.
But if I'm gonna pay to play, I'm gonna pay for that deluxe, and then that's it. I don't spend any other money on virtual currency,
Okay.
in game or anything like that for any of the sports stuff because I play all the Ultimate Team stuff because it's fun. So
Sure.
I'm a sports card guy outside of games, so in games if I can do the same thing and then use those in a game against somebody else, it's just whatever. But like I don't. That's it though. If I get the deluxe, that's it. Like I don't spend any more money on that, and even sometimes I don't get the deluxe.
Sure.
If
Just
I'm not gonna play that game mode and I'm just getting it for the core game,
Yep.
then I'll never get the deluxe or spend the VC then or whatever it may be.
I get you.
But
But I think overall, I think pay to play for my big key point here. I think people who have the means that care enough about the games will pay to play regardless of what happens. They're going to pay because they know they can get the extra skin. They can get that extra weapon that's going to make them a bit more dangerous. They may not, because you can always get that through in-game currency that you earn over time and accruing. If you have the means, they're likely going to do it. People who don't have the means won't. They're going to grind it out, spend the hours and hours and hours to get thousands of whatever goofy bucks, and then buy whatever skin or whatever weapon or gun that's just like the crazy thing that's going to make them super powerful. I think if you have the means, you will.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing.
well, and that's
But pay
just
to
it.
play
If you
is-
have expendable money, it's just gonna happen. Somebody's just gonna do it. You're just gonna do it.
But then I think it makes it a little bit less competitive in the space because, like, I'm never gonna be able to compete with somebody who's blown $1,000 in V-Bucks or whatever the heck they're
Madden
called.
is bad at that.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate Madden anyway. I could go on a tangent
Yeah.
on that. But like Madden is very bad with that. Where you like so people will drop thousands of dollars on when the game drops, and then that's it. Like they already have
can't be
maxed
beat.
out team, like, and
Yep.
you're sitting here with like for Madden, like you're sitting here with whatever you're given. I don't know, 72 overalls or whatever in MUT.
Yep.
I can't remember, but and now you're playing this dude that's already got 90s everywhere in every position. You're just like,
You can't win. That's the
so
downside
crazy.
to it.
yeah.
That's so crazy. I don't play sports games. The only one I play is F1. The pay to win versus pay to look, like how like cosmetics and all that stuff, very different in my eyes. Pay
Okay.
to win, I think, is just objectively bad. It's how, people rage quit the game. Obviously, companies make tons of money off of it. I didn't even realize that people could buy cards or buy players that, make their team amazing.
Oh,
and then,
yeah,
and then go
dude.
into a player versus player setting.
Yes.
That's awful to me.
And then,
Yep.
but then there's ranked, or like, I mean, pretty much ranked in all the sports games
Yeah.
now, where you have to be a certain level, so you're at least playing somebody ideally within this window of levels.
you can get-
but they could still have a crazy
Yeah,
team.
that's, and I think obviously, I mean, that's an EA game, right? EA in the past has been,
SDS as well,
yeah,
the show. But
yeah, okay, yeah. EA has
but
been
yeah, EA, yeah,
very historically
2K.
very bad at this. They've gotten into lawsuits in other countries because of it, gamifying their in-game currencies. Gambling for the
Yep.
Yeah.
gambling in general,
Yep.
even cosmetic or not. With the loot boxes, I know there was a huge thing about that
Yep.
a couple years ago. But paying to win, that's just a recipe for. Obviously, it's not a recipe for disaster, but it's a
Well,
good
no, 'cause
recipe
you're
for
gonna
me
win.
to not play the game. Yeah, but that's just such a bad
I
mindset.
know.
Now, going into a game and seeing there's funny money to buy cosmetics to make your character look like a bunny, whatever, right? That's fine.
Yeah.
You can spend your hard-earned cash to look a little bit cool, but if it's affecting your gameplay in any way whatsoever, whether that new skin makes you like a little skinnier so people can't shoot you as easy, anything at all, it's just
Yeah.
it's bad. And in my
It is
eyes,
bad
it's a
taste.
bad game.
Bad taste.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't-
not good.
I don't disagree. I hate the pay to play thing. I wish it was primarily only like cosmetic, but had no in-game advantage. Regardless, even if it made you look skinnier, I wish it wasn't that case. Like you said, like then it defeats the
Yeah.
purpose for anybody who
I
doesn't do
think-
that. Then it kind of gets a sour taste in their mouth. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't pay to play anything. Like I wait till games are on like crazy discount. And I never buy any Ultimate Team packages. I'm a cheap guy. You'll learn that about me as time goes on. But I'm just not in that mindset of like, I'm gonna buy this gun for any particular reason. I'm not going to buy this skin because it makes me look like a bunny. That's just not my thing. But I know plenty of people who will go out there. One of Erica's brothers lives in Iowa. He's like, I bought the latest skin for Fortnite or whatever, and it just looks bad butt, right? It looks awesome.
Yeah.
Bad
Right?
butt.
It's just, we're not going to swear on this. We're a PG-friendly show.
Fair,
So it's one of those things where I'm just like, I'll never do that. But he loves the game, loves the culture behind it, and he just knows like that skin or that weapon will give you kind of a status symbol within the game that is different than just like your plain Jane, like run-of-the-mill basic skins. And I think that's saying something too. So it's a cash grab. I hate that it gives you a strategic advantage. If it gives you an edge, I don't think it should be a thing.
Agree.
I would agree. If it's giving you an advantage, that's kind of bogus.
But that's also like the game companies just
But they don't care.
making their money. That's what
what
they
I mean.
don't give a crap.
They don't care because people are still going to buy it.
Absolutely.
Especially with where streaming is now. People are absolutely still going to buy it and then make a
course.
video about it, and then more people are going to buy it. So they don't care. That's fine. So no, it does suck as far as like if you're person versus person
Yep.
head on and one person is able to afford it and one person's not. That's bogus. That does suck. But maybe we'll do one more little transition here.
Sure.
And then we'll wrap up the meat of the sandwich with two kind of quicker questions, and we'll head into our top fives. Top fives of what? I guess we'll find out.
We'll find out. All right.
Yo, back at it again, obviously. So really quick, again, these two questions are more quicker. The first one maybe a little bit longer. What are your thoughts on like simulation games? And I ask that
Yes.
because again with my brother, I play a little bit of Farming Simulator. Just
nothing wrong with
fun. That. But then, you know, whether it's Farming Simulator or, I don't know, there's a goat simulator out there.
There's
There's a construction simulator. There's train simulators on Game Pass right now. I've thought about trying out, but I'd imagine I just press go and then I just sit there and make sure it doesn't fly off the rails. Like
There's
maybe
probably a subway
I wonder
add-on.
if I
You
can
gotta
go
stop.
fast enough or like fly off the
Pull
rails.
like a speed and just going through like some abandoned railway
But
tunnels.
like, what are your thoughts on simulation games? Are they like fun to you, or do you have to have a purpose to go and do them, or is it not something you would ever touch ever?
Who wants to kick us off here, boys?
Go for it. You go.
Want me to
for
go
it.
first?
He kicked
All
it
right,
off last
go for it.
time.
So I love simulation games. Fun fact, the PC that runs our podcast and that runs this right now was built solely for the purpose of playing American Truck Simulator.
Let's go.
Oh,
That's what we
nice.
love to hear. Yes.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Let's go,
That's becoming
boys.
super popular.
Let's
too.
go. That is the sole
hilarious.
purpose of me building that PC right there. 100%, no questions asked.
I love that.
So, with that said, I don't play it as often as I wish I should have because it does take a long time to kind of get into the swing of things in there. You kind of get a crummy, like basic single cab truck, and it's kind of hard to get contracts. And don't get me wrong, I love the game, but the kickoff is tough. And I don't know if I'm just dumb and I didn't realize there's like a way to kind of already kickstart like a game that has a career already going on. You have contracts and multiple trucks and yada yada yada. So I found it difficult to get started. But with that said,
I mean, that's probably most simulation games, honestly. I know
think
Farming
so.
Sim for sure, but you have options. Like
Yes.
you can start hardcore mode, medium mode, or easy mode, and it'll set like the economy and then give you
Yes.
your starting money. So when you go and sell your whatever you're doing on your farm, right?
Mhm.
But
yeah.
so maybe there's an option for that now.
There probably is somewhere.
in Truck Simulator, but
yeah. So with that said, my other games, so I got caught in the rabbit hole of like American Truck Simulator, built the computer for that. The other simulation game I did play like probably 20 hours or so of Farming Sim. It was like super discounted on Steam, and I definitely threw down. I had my own little wheat crops and whatever, and it was definitely a cool thing.
Let's go.
I get caught in like random like rabbit holes on YouTube, and like Farming Simulator was one of them. So now I watch a couple of like random farming YouTubers, like are local to the Twin Cities, like local to Minnesota and Iowa, which is
really?
kind of funny.
Really?
That's awesome.
Shout out Millennial Farmer and Cola Cornstar. What up?
Oh snap!
But besides that, so I remember in the very beginning, you guys asked like, "What's a nostalgic game?" They like listened to like an album, like really kind of stuck with you during that time playing. Another simulation game that really is like one of the ones that I have, probably the game I have the most hours on my PC. It's called Cities Skylines.
Yes.
Oh,
I played-
I've
break those
dabbled with
down.
that one.
Yeah.
I've
Boom.
dabbled
So
with
glad.
that.
That's so good, dude.
So glad I put that in there. Shout out my buddy Jake. Jake and I got really into Cities Skylines. We definitely went in and like he was trying to keep it vanilla with no mods at all. and he and I just went bonkers with it after a while. You put a bunch of mods in there now, and they now have the second version of City Skylines that just came out recently, City Skylines 2, that has like all those mods like built in that are like the company who makes the game like moderated, which is really cool. But for me, when I listen to that, I think of an album by a band that I listen to. The band is called Boys of Fall, and the album's called Better Moments. I listen to that over and over and over again.
Still to this day?
Still to this day. But when I play that game, that's immediately what I think of as listening to that album all the way through, just on repeat. I'm a big music guy. I have a microphone tattooed on my arm, so like music's a big thing for me.
He goes and shoots pictures at concerts.
I do. That's my jam. But so like when I think of like simulation games, like City Skylines is the #1 game that I played. But also, like, I think of it back in, like, the sense of, like, one of the most games that has, like, an impact on me. So it's kind of like a double whammy. I didn't bring it up in the beginning because Infamous was still just, like, a gangster game for me.
Dude,
but
I got to check that out.
This one, for me, simulation-wise, was just the way to go.
City Skylines?
100%.
Yeah, that's
a
awesome.
solid game.
That's awesome. Since you did a shout-out Brian.
Brian?
My
Who's
guy,
Brian?
My guy, Brian. High school, grade above me.
Okay.
He's been playing the crap out of Truck Simulator, actually, recently. But he's big into it, and I swear it was City Skylines. He was big into maps and stuff, so
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I'm almost positive that's what it is. But shout out Brian.
What's up, Brian?
But I mean, geez, I was gonna call.
I'm
him.
already here. I'm already over here. I already went. I need to go again.
Joe, that's his name, right?
That's my name. Yeah.
So how do you feel about the simulation games?
Before I get into it, City Silent is a good answer. I actually went through my library and just looked for every game with the name simulation in it.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about City Skyline, so I probably have more than this, but I wrote out all the ones that I could find. I'm just going to list them out really quick and then caveat something after.
Sure. Send it.
So, American Truck Simulator, Car for Sale Simulator, Car Mechanic Simulator,
yes,
Cooking Simulator, Farming Simulator, Hacking Simulator, Police Simulator, Prison Simulator, and of course, The Sims.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
The big one.
Yep.
So I'm going to caveat really quick.
Yep.
There are only like maybe 1, 2, or 3 of these that I've played a ton.
Okay.
The rest of them, I think they're easy to get into, but I think they kind of lose it after a little while.
Okay.
And so I don't end up playing them a lot. I played a ton of ATS, American Truck Simulator.
Yeah.
Ton of that. I've played a lot of The Sims. I just get in like kind of stints of really liking The Sims.
Sure.
Also, I mean, F1 is kind of a simulator, right?
I mean, technically it's a racing simulation.
So that's probably the one I've got the most
Yeah.
time in, but
Sure.
I think, yeah. And then, you know, they're always coming. I think it's like a generation thing, or it's just indie companies are just making more of them, or simulator based companies are just making more.
There is a lot more like
of them.
indie companies,
and they're
or
coming
something
out like
that.
recently. So like,
Yeah.
like most recently, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but there was a, what was it, a grocery store simulator, I think.
It's a Contraband one as well.
There's a Contraband.
I have it in my cart. I haven't played it, but it's like it's crazy. Same thing. Yeah, a lot of the new random things that come out are just like random simulation. Like I'm never gonna go and be like a border security guard in like the Middle East somewhere, like whatever it is. But it's like I could be one in this game, and it just looks so goofy, but it looks awesome. I've had it in my like wish list for like a year now, and I just haven't purchased it because I'm a cheap guy. But
that's another one that I forgot to mention. Yeah, I played that game. I played probably 10 or more hours of it. It's a good time. It's a good time. Yeah. But like I said, they have kind of a shelf life for me. They have like a period where they get like their 15 minutes of fame a little bit.
Yep.
It's kind of like games that are trending. You see streamers do this too. They'll play a game that's kind of trending for a day or two, and then they'll never touch it again.
Sure.
I kind of get in those same spurts a little bit. I think I put a little more time into them, I would say. But after that, I typically don't really touch them.
Sure.
I tried playing Farming Simulator with my wheel, and my keybinds were so messed up that I just kind of gave up after.
Couldn't do it.
I always wondered if I could play it with my wheel.
It was
on console.
hard.
On console.
Yeah, so I got discouraged. I'd like to try it again. I do get, like you, I go into YouTube and I find these. Sometimes I'll just watch Farming Simulator videos just like as an ASMR type
Same.
thing. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know.
The YouTube rabbit hole claims me easily on like a weekly basis.
I don't know if I could just sit there and watch Farming Sim videos. I could have it on in the background if I'm doing something else.
Oh yeah.
But like,
background noise is definitely easier.
Like, I don't know if I could just sit there like, you know what? I'm gonna grab my food.
Yep.
I'm gonna sit down.
Yep.
I'm gonna watch a Farming Sim video.
Watch this guy sit there.
I don't know about that. Not saying that's what you guys are saying that you do, but
there's been times. Don't get me wrong.
ADHD weirdly goes both ways. I can have it in the background and I can hyper focus on it.
And hyperfixation's a real thing. Like, 100%. Like I guess I do that on YouTube as well with different things.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
No, I hear you.
Yep.
What
about Do you have anything else for the sim stuff, Joe? What are your parting thoughts on your sim experiences?
The
you
sim
throw out
experiences?
a ton of really good names out there that I didn't even think of.
Like I said, I feel like I love the simulation genre just in general if it's
Sure.
interesting, and I think what makes them better, and I think the ones that stand out the most, is other mechanics along with the simulation. So like survival simulation games, not talking like zombie apocalypse or
Yeah.
anything like that, but like for instance, just a regular life simulator, and you have a car that you have to rebuild, but you also have to take care of your thirst and your hunger and stuff like that. Those keep me engaged a lot
Just because there's a
longer.
lot to do.
There's a lot to do.
Yeah.
You have goals, and there's also a grind associated with it, but it's
Sure.
not crazy. Yeah, those will definitely get me hooked a little bit. For
Okay.
sure.
Smelty, what's your sim
Dude,
lifestyle?
just farming sim, bro.
That's it,
Just
huh?
farming sim. I've thought about construction sim.
I bought one and it was hot garbage. Thankfully, Steam gives you
It
like a
looked like
10-hour
hot
like
garbage. It kind of looked
whatever.
like hot garbage.
it was bunk.
I wonder
dude.
who made that, because I wonder if it's the same one on the console. Because like every time
Ooh.
I've watched the trailer like 50 times, so I'm just like,
Oh,
I
That is-
don't know. Like I don't know if that's the one. You know what I mean?
I just remembered a game that we haven't said yet, and I
For a
really want to say
simulation
it.
game?
Yeah,
You gotta say it now.
Zoo Tycoon.
Oh,
Nobody
Zoo
ever
Tycoon.
played Zoo Tycoon.
I do like Zoo Tycoon. So I do
I
actually.
have it for the console.
I
and
do
for
act-
PC.
I have it for console too, but I haven't really messed with it much. But like, I do have Jurassic World, which I would consider
Okay.
a slight
Oh,
simulation, which is Zoo Tycoon, but with
Like dinosaurs and stuff.
That's,
yeah.
Okay.
that's literally it. There's different objectives, and like, there's different game modes. Like, there's a campaign, and then there's just a sandbox mode, pretty much. But
Okay.
like, no. So I guess I've messed with that a little bit. That's
Sure.
been kind of cool.
And then Roller Coaster Tycoon.
I was
as
about to
well.
say
I
that.
love
You gotta
roller,
throw 'em out
roller
there,
Never
right?
played
coaster
Zoo, but I played
Tycoon
Rare-
was
yeah.
lit.
Yeah,
Roller Coaster and Zoo, funny enough, long way back in my life, when I was like probably middle school, maybe I was over at my cousin's house constantly over the summertime. He had a PC, and he would always have Zoo Tycoon and Roller Coaster Tycoon. I'd wake up like dummy early and play it because
To
when
play
he
that.
was he
Yeah.
was up, he was playing it. So when he was asleep, I could play it. So I would play. I had my little campaign on Roller Coaster
Sure.
Tycoon, and he had my own campaign on Zoo Tycoon. And
Sure.
both those games
Interesting.
to me have very, very fond memories. But funny, you
Yeah.
mentioned you have Zoo
Yeah.
Tycoon on Xbox.
I do
So
have it on Xbox.
So do I. I don't
I
play
do
it.
have it.
ever, but
I haven't done much with it, but
it's definitely
I
a
should.
fun. Like it's definitely a lot more interactive, and it's definitely more developed. Like the OG ones, you can like interact with like the giraffes and like throw an apple to them, and like you
Yeah,
can like
or-
wash the
yeah,
hippo or what
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah,
mean. Like
yeah.
there's like goofy little things that you can do that's definitely changed compared to the old school
Mhm.
versions. But yeah, it just came up when you mentioned for some reason it came up in my mind, and I'm like, how are we not going to bring those up?
Well, yeah.
Because those to me were just like
Dude, I
staples
totally
of my
even
childhood.
forgot about
I would
that.
say-
Yeah.
Well, they came in cereal boxes
Yeah,
at one
I
point. dude.
know.
I would
So-
say, I mean,
Yes.
I would say that it's probably because they're like simulation adjacent a little bit, and
Sure.
they're very strategy based because
Yes.
obviously you're
I mean, they
building,
are,
you're
yeah.
building
Yeah.
things up and you want them to be profitable, so you have a lot of that involved. So like they obviously have simulation in that this is something that happens in real. I mean, it happens in real life, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's probably why they're not like immediate. Like I said, I went through my library and just looked for games that had simulation in the name.
Sure.
But I'm sure I have a ton of them that could be, simulation adjacent.
You can call them. Yeah. I think that's a great way to put it. A simulation adjacent.
Yeah.
So.
Simulation
But I feel like
adjacent.
with that though, like every game in theory is a simulation, like sports games.
Right.
It
yeah.
is.
I'm
It
not
is
Austin
technically
Matthews.
a
Yeah.
sports
Right.
simulation. Yeah.
Yeah, we'd probably want to, maybe narrow the genre a little
Yep.
bit.
So real
But
fast.
that's just it. The genre's that big, though.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is.
That's
Yeah.
true.
That's what it is.
I think I'm
Yep.
thinking when you put simulator at the end of something in the list of games, you're doing that thing so intimately.
Yes.
Like you're
Yes.
like cooking simulator.
Like,
You're
I
in a
was gonna say
kitchen.
the cookware
You
or
have a
something, yeah.
knife, right? You
Yep.
have cookware and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nope, I
like
get
I don't
that.
view the sports games in that same sense,
Mhm.
like I do like farming sim.
sure.
As far as like a simulation,
100%. No, that's
You
vastly
know,
different. Yep.
But technically they are a simulation of said thing, or you're
Right.
playing as somebody else. I mean, that's what
Yep.
that's probably the definition still, but it's still
Yep.
separate than what the simulation that we just talked.
There's different
about, for sure.
categories. Yeah. There's different levels to it for,
For
sure.
sure.
So
So just real quick, and then we seriously got to get into our top fives and move
Yeah.
this thing along because this has
Yep.
gone on long. So hopefully the test works out. But with F1 being our current show on Banter with the Boys,
Yep.
what is your experience with playing the game in general? I guess I'll start since I
ahead.
haven't started yet.
yeah,
Please.
start us off,
Yeah.
buddy.
I got into F1, I don't know, 6 years ago or so, and it randomly, my buddy, another shout out, Andrew Schmitz,
What's up,
lives
dude?
in Panama now.
Panama. Okay.
But he's from here. He got me into F1 in general, and then I started playing the game. I got like F1, I don't know, 18 or 19 or something, and started playing back then. And just trying to figure stuff out. I really sucked then. I still suck now, but I really sucked then. And but no, it's just been fun to play. You learn the tracks. I mean, go hit the time trial for a hot minute.
Yeah.
And just learn all the turns. You know, kind of like what the drivers do. They memorize all of that stuff.
Yep.
They can do it blindfolded. There's been videos of that, which is crazy. I can't do that, but
I love seeing those. Yeah.
but I mean, you guys have played some F1 video games, yeah?
Mm-hmm. I absolutely have. I kind of looked back. I think I got 19 before I was into F1, and I think I got it because it was a part of like a bundle off of Humble Bundle, and it was like $2 for a ton of games.
Humble Bundle?
Oh yeah. That's another PC gaming thing.
News to me.
That's like
I don't know what Humble
you can
Bundle.
get like loads of games for like truly $3 sometimes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow,
It's crazy. So either way, my dad is also super into that. He like sent me a code. I think he got me like a Humble Bundle, and it included 19. So I had that sitting in my library. And then I started kind of getting into DTS, and I realized that I had some of those games. So I think I picked up 20. I have 19 through 23, but I played 20 through 23. 20 was completely on controller, and I think at the end of 21 is when I started getting into the wheel. And then 22 and 23, I think it's pretty much been the wheel. I might be getting 21 and 22 mixed up, but yeah, the wheel has been there. So 20 through 23, and then I have a little note here. The music in 22 and also 23 has been pretty good when they went from like this just cars kind of racing by, like sound effects in the menu, into this drum and bass. Yeah, that hooked me. So like 22 is probably my favorite just because of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, I got to look that soundtrack
It's-
up now.
yeah,
I'm really
I have to
curious.
same.
I listened to it and I just
I'm trying to think if I drove I did drive my truck over here, so I do have a
there you
sub
go.
in there. So now
Ooh,
I do
send
gotta
it.
go. I gotta go look
Yeah.
up that album, see if it's on.
Absolutely.
See if it's on Spotify.
F1 22
sure it is.
soundtrack. It
Probably
100%
is.
will be. Hold Your Ground.
Well, because
by,
he put it on there.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
why.
Duh. Yeah.
Duh.
Hold Your Ground by, I think it's Chase and Status, is my number one from that. So if you're looking
Okay.
for a song to go into first, that's my number
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
the
Okay.
one. All right.
On my way home. Done.
Good to know.
Done. I got to listen to that album too, the one you mentioned before.
Yep. It's a little bit of a different vibe than
That's
the drum
fine.
and bass for
well,
sure.
no
but-
doubt. No, 100%. I already gathered that.
Then I don't want to listen to it.
But
Understood.
F1 experience, video game.
Real quick, shout out to our boy Tyler, other guy from our other NFL and F1 podcast. Shout out Hands. What's up, dog?
Hands.
He got the newest version of F1.
Yeah, 23, right?
Wanted to upgrade also his steering wheel and his pedal setup. So he got the new stuff, gave me the old one for like $50, and then also bought F1 with me or for me so he and I could play together because he was just like, it's on sale. Let's rip it, dude. I'm like, okay. That was my first ever experience with it. I am hot garbage, but I love the challenge and I enjoy like
It is a challenge.
learning like the mechanics. Now, obviously being the producer of like our podcasts, I have now found myself as a F1 fan. So now playing that game means
got
a little bit
another
more.
one.
You guys got me
We
on the
got
hook.
another one.
I was up watching the Grand Prix this past weekend at 2 a.m.
You're crazy.
I am crazy.
I didn't do that.
But I was also photographing something. So, but yeah. So with that said, I love it. Love it. We should move on and we'll see what else we can do.
Sounds good.
All right. We back? We are back.
We're back.
All right. We're back. So we got cut off real quick on the last one. F1's awesome. Thanks, Tyler. Thanks for the boys. We also got to get an F1 podcast like game session going.
I
We tried once
know,
before, but it
dude.
just didn't work out. Joe and I actually
know.
played, had a good
Did you
time.
guys?
We did. I'm still garbage.
And because
but
I'm on,
I
you're on
crushed
Xbox
him.
too.
I'm on Xbox, but
But
it's
I
all
can
in
play
game
with you
share.
We
guys
have
too.
crossplay, yeah, it's crossplay.
Yeah.
So
So let's just do that.
yeah, let's get her going, boys. But on to the last topic. Smelty, take us home, buddy.
The top fives. We're doing top 5 games of all time. I know this is difficult. Okay,
It's
I know
was
this
probably
is
the most
difficult.
difficult thing I've had to do
I'm-
all week, and I
oh,
work full time.
good thing it's
so.
Tuesday, homie.
True.
You got a long week coming.
Where's Cole? How's your Tuesday?
But how's your Tuesday? No, I know it's tough. That's why. Just go for
Goal?
it. Just
Oh man.
just give us your
All
top
right.
5.
Okay, I'm gonna give you my top.
Obviously, I already know. Right before we even
I don't
start, I
think you
already
do.
know for most of us that there's already going to be a couple that could have been number 5. That you're sad that you had to sneak a different game. in
Oh,
there.
for sure.
But
Yeah.
like,
I only had
it is
one.
what it is.
So
for mine, luckily, I only had one that got into like a 6th spot. That's it.
Okay.
So, wasn't too
Alright.
bad. What do you got, Joe? Rattle them off.
This is tough. Okay, I'm going to start with my most favorite, my favorite game ever, and it's unfortunately going to be a game series. So it's you guys let me know if it counts.
That counts.
It counts
Okay,
as
mine
one.
does too.
That counts as one.
Yeah,
Okay.
mine does too.
That counts
So
as
it
one.
is 3 games. It's called Mass Effect. There were
Heard of
3
Oh,
of them.
dude.
This
Heard
is
about it, never
my
played.
That's
by
my buddy's.
far my favorite game series ever.
Okay.
And,
Crazy.
Andromeda was so bad. The fourth installment, but they're coming out with a 5th one, which I'm calling the 4th installment because Andromeda just didn't happen.
Just doesn't exist to you.
1, 2, and 3 though, it had its issues for sure, but overall, just the story is so good.
Sure.
It was probably one of the first video games, like 3 in a row, that I completed in its entirety.
Wow. Okay.
And then went back when it was remastered to play through it again. So I probably beat all 3 of them at least 3 to 4 times each.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Have you played
Okay.
Mass Effect, Kev?
I have not. I was going to ask what console is that on? Is that Xbox or
You can
PC?
Xbox.
You could play it. I think you can play it on any console, and I played it on PC. So I've only played it on PC.
Cool,
And
okay.
it was just like a lot of other games when I was younger. It was my dad that got me onto it. He started playing it. He played through the first one and the second one, and he never got to finish the third one. But I dove into it, and
Sure.
yeah, it was
Got you
such a good
hooked.
time. So that's my favorite game. That's number 1 game series. Sure.
Sure.
The next one is World of Warcraft. Another game that my dad got me into, probably the first video game that I ever played seriously.
Sure.
I think I was legitimately a child when I was playing this game. Truly, like almost probably elementary, actually definitely in elementary school, I was playing World of Warcraft. I wasn't playing it seriously. I never got into like end game content, but I was having a great time clicking buttons on my screen.
That's all you
being
need.
like a night elf hunter with like a little cat by my side. You know, definitely has to be one of the top. I hate the game, but I also love the game. And I think for that, it has to be there.
Okay.
Because I feel like I always go back to it no matter what. We're running out of time, but I could talk hours about my experience with WoW.
Yep.
The next one is recent.
Okay.
Final Fantasy 14. Another MMO like World of Warcraft. This was a game that was incredibly hard for me to get into because the story at the start is difficult to get into. But you go through it all, and I'm talking this is about 600 hours of story. Truly, you go through it. It is so worth it at the end. It is.
I was gonna say, like you said, it's super hard to get into, but it's number 3 on your list.
It's hard to, but because the payoff at the end is so good. The first, like, it has like 5 expansions right now. The first expansion is a little bit of a drag to get through, but the expansions after that just keep getting better and better and better. Minus, I think, one of them, but like
Crazy.
they're
Final Fantasy
so
14.
good. 14. That's the only Final Fantasy game I've ever played. I've ever played.
Oh wow, okay.
The only other one that was like a surefire thing that I have to include is GTA 5. Game's just amazing, right? I also played that game. I played that game all the way through on Xbox 360, Xbox One, and PC.
Whoa.
Because they all released one after the other, and so I had to get it on each of them. I'll do the same thing for GTA 6. Well, no, I'll play it twice. I'll play it on the Xbox Series X and then PC.
Yep.
And then I have 3 that I was going in between. I think I'm going to give it to Cyberpunk 2077 because I just find myself going back to it constantly. It still has its issues, but I love it so much.
I just started
Never
that
played it.
game
Dude,
on Xbox Series X, and I'm just starting to get into it a little bit. So I'm seriously at the bare bones beginning.
Yeah.
Like, but it just seems like graphically, it's just a world. So far, it's just a world that I've never been in before. And, you know, immersed with my headphones with the lights off in the living room. No offense to my wife, love her, bless. She's in bed, but like all the lights off in the living room, big old TV, got my headphones on, and like just looking at the, you know, what is it, Night City it's called
Night
or whatever.
City,
Just I'm just like, dude.
Yeah, the world and the
I don't
story.
know.
Yeah, they're so
I've
good.
heard the story's just
It's
good
great,
too.
dude. Yeah.
Everybody loves the story, so I can't wait to
Alright.
try that out.
And what's that called again?
It's called
Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk. I've definitely heard about it for sure.
2077.
Okay.
Yep.
It's I don't know.
Add it to my
dude.
list.
I've been that
Mental
was another
list.
one that I watched. I watched trailers forever, even if
Yeah.
it's the same trailer. But I watched trailers forever, like 50 times before I actually buy the game. I'm like, do I really want this? And I'll go back and forth. But that one I kept coming back to so much.
Yeah, it was unfortunately one of those games where they released a trailer probably close to 10 years before the game was actually released, and they released it in a bad state.
And I knew it was not good right away.
However, 2 or 3 years later, they release it again, or rather, they fix a lot of it and they add an expansion, a DLC, and it's really good. It's so good. So
Okay.
Yeah.
that's my 5.
That's your 5. What were the other 2?
Right.
What's the honorable mentions? The other 2.
Gary's Mod, and then Baldur's Gate 3, which is just D&D as a video game. That game was that deserved Game of the game of the year 100 times over, which I I think it got. So
Okay.
yeah,
Got it.
Older-
Okay.
those are my honorable mentions. Thanks for letting me yap. I appreciate it.
Dude, that's what this is about.
Oh,
That's
good.
exactly what this is about.
Do you want me to go? You want to wrap this up?
No, give us your
Okay.
top 5.
I'm gonna go quick here. So, as mentioned before, Infamous, the series, the first and second game, the two that still stand out in my mind. Number 1 and 2. That's it for me. Just we talked about it before. I won't harp on it anymore. Love the game. Love the experience that I had while playing it. Second one I didn't mention before was Star Fox on the N64.
Star Fox is good.
I watched some trailers of that again, and just hearing the little like rabbit guy like use your brakes, like goofy stuff like that, just threw me crazy back into like nostalgia central. So Star Fox 64, I remember playing like the second to last, like the final level, and you couldn't beat the dang thing, and I just spent hours and hours and hours and hours on it, and you finally beat it, and it's just like yes, you're finally done with it. So Star Fox, just an overall awesome game for an OG system that to me stood out as just one of the coolest games. I played it all the way through, which I don't do that a lot in a lot of games. So that one for sure. We didn't talk about a lot of the Nintendo stuff at all. So like Mario Kart from back in the day.
Yeah.
Like Mario Kart OG, especially when we were in college.
On
We had a couple-
N64?
N64, 100%. Yep. Mario Kart, the OG on 64. We had a couple of drinking games back in college and how we played them. Like that was a fun experience, but also just like you can still pick up any Mario Kart game and it's still fun, regardless of what edition,
100%.
what console,
100%.
whether it's
I
Wii,
would agree with that.
freaking U, the Switch, 64, does not matter. Any Mario Kart game is still, still holds up to this day. Just how it is. And then City Skylines. Talked about that already. I won't harp on it much anymore. Still an awesome game. Top game of my life. Just love it. Is what it is, right? And then 5 and 6 are 5 and 6 are both series. So I'll give it the NHL and FIFA franchise. I played FIFA 12 probably longer than any game I've ever played in my life when I was in college. That's all I did. So the FIFA franchise definitely has a special spot in my heart. And then the NHL franchise as well. Same concept. Still has a spot in my heart. The newest games I haven't played very much. I haven't played NHL since 22 just because the games don't change very much. It isn't like Madden or 2K where they put a ton of money into them. So I don't see the need to buy another $60 game or $180 game with the bonus garbage. Then I did just buy FIFA because Eric had his buddies over. And I was like, what's $12 on like Xbox store? Like, well, I'll buy it anyway. Yeah. So I bought FIFA and I just slap them around all the time. They always lose, which is cool. So, and then honorable mention was any of the backyard sports games.
Oh,
Way back.
yeah.
I can't believe you just said
Yes.
that.
Yeah,
That is
yeah,
so
yeah.
good.
When I said the Zoo Tycoon game, Backyard Sports, Zoo Tycoon, Roller Coaster Tycoon, those games were pretty much my entire summer for years back in like the middle school, like early age. So I'm so glad that nobody brought those up because it was baseball. And I don't know if basketball was one of them or was baseball and something else. Baseball was the number one. Yeah. But I can't remember the other one that was like a huge hit for me. But those were my top two for sure.
I forgot. It's definitely not in my top 5, but that was 100% one of the very first games I've ever played on PC.
Yes, it was
That
PC
is-
only.
Yeah.
Then, so
Oh my gosh. Yeah. The baseball one. I remember. I can't remember the kid's name because they were based
like
off of
Pablo
real.
Sanchez. Or whatever it was. Yeah,
Oh, I can't
Pablo.
believe- Pablo. I hated Pablo so
Yeah,
much, but I
he was a
also loved
gangster,
him. He
though.
was so good.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
So-
Wow.
But yeah, so that was mine. I'll wrap mine up. We got to wrap this up here. But those are my top 5/6. The backyard sports and the NHL and the FIFA franchises rounded out. So Infamous, Star Fox 64, Mario Kart, City Skylines, NHL/FIFA, and then backyard sports.
Thank you so much for saying
So,
backyard sports.
Of
That
course,
brought
dude.
back so
I
many
don't know why I
memories.
forgot about
So
those.
many memories.
Yeah, 100%.
That's crazy.
Glad I could wrap up my segment with a little throwback nostalgia for you guys because that meant a lot for me back in the day. So
Good, yes,
Smelty,
dude,
take
yeah.
us home.
Yeah,
my man.
for sure.
What do you got?
Originally, I was going to just do, in the sports world, my top 5 franchises since that's what I play the most.
Yep.
You guys have inspired me to quick change it.
Yeah.
I was able to come up with 5 games. There are some sports titles included.
It's fine.
Number 5 being
We're going backwards.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
That would have been smart.
My bad.
Should've done that.
My
That's
bad.
okay.
Should have done that. No,
but yeah,
no,
going
yeah.
backwards. So Tiger Woods PGA Tour 2008.
Okay.
Just a classic game. I was
Never played
I
any
was
golf games.
huge
That's
into
cool.
golf. There's a new one out. EA Sports is actually decent. 2K doesn't do too bad, but I think EA did a better job at
Okay.
it. They just came out last year. Yeah, Tiger Woods PGA Tour 08 specifically, just childhood games. A lot of these games will be childhood games that like.
Sure.
But like I would still play them today. I still own that game. I still own actually all these games I'm about to mention. But number 4 would be SSX 3. It's a snowboarding
Oh,
game.
SSS Tricky or whatever, right?
No, Tricky
was a different
Tricky
one?
was before 3, I think.
Okay.
But
mentioned
Tricky
that,
was
that's what
great
came
too.
up.
A lot of people actually love Tricky, and I get it. I love Tricky
Yeah.
too.
Okay.
But SSX3 specifically for me, just like it was kind of my first
I just thought of another game.
it was kind of my first like open world concept.
Sure.
Like you
Ooh,
could, there were still
yeah.
limits, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
But like I was in an open world snowboarding game. You have to snowboard down to your next event or whatever
Yep.
it may be.
Yep.
So it was slightly open world, not really, right?
Right.
I don't know what I would consider it, but it was like my first experience with that. So that kind of was a big deal to me.
Okay.
NCAA football 2007, again another PS2 game. Just their, I can't remember what game mode it was called now, but like you make your own guy and you go through your 4 years of school or whatever.
Yep.
Just super awesome.
The campaign, like you build a player.
You know,
kind of thing.
honorable mention into that one is NCAA 12, 13, and 14, because at that point, I think 12 brought it in where you could start as as a senior in high school and play your senior year, then get recruited, then go play your next 4 years.
How cool is
That's
that?
quality. That's so
cool.
cool.
And that's
I love
something
that.
that hasn't been in the games. You know, like
That's-
the Madden series is horrible since like at least 2008, in
I
my
haven't played
opinion.
them, and I have. And
Maybe
I agree.
09 is okay, but like,
Okay.
so like that concept
That's
is
so good.
super
That's
cool.
like F1 where you get to go to F2 to F. Yeah,
It's super cool.
it's
And
so
like
good.
some of the old NASCAR games, NASCAR 08,
Yeah,
you could do that too
man.
and work your way up.
Okay.
That's actually an honorable mention for this list. I played a lot of that. Number 2, also GTA 5.
I mean,
Just,
come on.
just a great
Yeah,
game. I played the
no
crap out of
explanation
it.
needed. Yeah.
Yep.
GTA 4 is very close for me
GTA
as
was
4.
very good. I wasn't
Um,
allowed to play GTA 4 for a long time, so I had to like sneak it.
I
and
snuck
play it.
GTA 3
Oh yeah,
for sure.
that's awesome.
The local game store sold it to me at like, oh my God, dude. I think I was 13. And they
Oh,
sold
boy.
it to me, and my dad found out. He was super pissed at them.
That's all right.
And I got to return it and got
Oh,
something else. I
man.
can't remember what I bought with it, but yeah, no. Because actually, funny story, real quick, and then we do got to wrap this up. My brother was like, my dad was wondering why my brother was all PO'd, and he was like, I don't know, if I was 13, he was probably like 9 or something, and my brother's just like, oh well, Tyler won't let me play the game that swears. And my dad was like, what?
Oh, no.
Yeah. So I had to give him GTA 3. That sucked.
Yeah, I've had my brother rat me out a
But
few
yeah,
times. with some
GTA
things.
5, number 2.
Sure. Number
Number
one.
one, probably wild. A lot of people probably don't even know I played this. I played the absolute crap out of this game and multiple other games. But Pokemon Emerald on the Game Boy Advance
that's so good.
was a killer for me, and
Sure.
I loved that game.
That's
You're
I
a Game
still
Boy
have
guy,
it
right?
somewhere. Oh yeah,
Game Boy?
Yeah,
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
for sure. Game Boy Advance, Advance SP was my favorite
Sure.
though, for
Mhm.
sure. And then a couple DSs here and there too. But
Okay.
dude, Pokemon Emerald was killer. I really need another copy of that game
They
because
have emulators, though.
I think I have the original. Nah, dude, like
I know it isn't the
I gotta-
same, but if you needed to
no,
fill the,
no,
scratch the itch.
that's fine to scratch it, but I want to go in the itch, dude. That sounds weird. But I want to play it on a GBA in my hand, which I still have.
Yeah.
A GBA, I still have a DS Lite, so both
Okay.
of those will play it. But
Sure.
nah, Pokemon Emerald for sure.
Okay.
That's that's great.
The whole series
call,
was
yeah.
great for me,
Like
but
all the Pokemon games deserve kind of like an honorable mention. Those are one of the first
Oh.
games that I ever really played. Like,
yeah.
yeah, like like a road trip and take a little Game Boy
Blue,
Color
yellow,
with you.
red. Yeah, dude.
silver, that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Yeah,
I've only
Yeah,
played.
dude, silver and
Yeah.
gold are spendy
Yeah.
now.
Of course they are.
Mhm.
Of course
Yeah,
they-
I've lived through the Pokemon series, but I've only
Yeah.
played I think one generation of it,
Okay.
and it was probably the best generation in my opinion, which is Diamond and Pearl.
Oh, Diamond and Pearl,
So
yeah.
good.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep. But
I did think of one other game.
do it.
yeah,
Skate,
you almost lost it.
Skate 3.
Skate 3's
You keep on
great,
bringing
dude.
up
I know.
Skate 3's
banger after
great.
banger after
Sorry.
banger.
I'm sorry.
Especially when it came out. The time
Yes.
it came
Oh,
out and just
yeah.
that moment in
Oh
time.
my gosh.
Skate
Yes.
3 was awesome.
And I think
I
the
totally
big-
agree with you.
The biggest reason is no one mentioned Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, by the way. But
Underground 2 is one
Yes.
of my
We are not
favorites.
real gamers.
Dang it,
No,
dude.
we
What are
guys
we
suck.
doing?
We are bad
Our
gamers.
lists are horrible.
Yep, but the big reason I bring that up is that was the first skateboarding game that came out after the OG Tony Hawk
Yeah,
games,
which were
that
good.
actually brought skateboarding games back onto the map.
100%, dude.
And I-
Dude,
Don't
Skate
forget,
3 was so
Rob
good.
Deerdeck and Big Black are in
Yeah.
that game, and that
Love
was the
Big.
only reason
Yeah,
I got
yeah,
it
yeah.
because I was obsessed with Rob and Big back in the day. And they're like, dude,
Great
you're
show.
in this game. You got to
Great
do
show.
it. And they had like the little bit in the show where like they put like the skinny suits on with little dots
Yeah,
on them, and
yeah,
they're just
yeah, yeah.
goofing around, and he checks them and stuff. R.I.P. Big Black. But it's like,
No doubt.
you got to throw that out there. So I'm sorry to cut you there at the end, but I'm
No.
like, I wrote it down. I'm like, I
appreciate
had
it.
to say it.
Thank you.
Yes,
Skate
dude.
3.
And then
Again,
I can't believe I forgot about the Tony Hawk.
yeah.
There's
Those are
Tony Hawk
classics.
So good.
So we may have to
Pro
do a
skaters, the
secondary follow-up.
undergrounds.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yes.
the undergrounds for me on PS2
Oh.
were awesome, but the pro
Yeah.
skaters, the OGs were awesome, and then
Yes.
Skate 3. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't
What
think
the heck?
I still don't think that game is near my top 5, but I played it a ton.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Definitely
I
not
played
a
it
top
so
by any means,
much.
but still one of the
Great
games that's
game,
just
yeah.
like nostalgia central.
It's
and
definitely
Nostalgia
an
holds up.
honorable
Good to
mention.
mention.
I think we
Yeah.
have a lot. There's like just a lot of games with honorable mentions.
We'd
that
have,
we
a,
could probably.
we'd have a list of 20
Oh
of
my
honorable
gosh!
mentions.
Yeah,
dude.
maybe we should just like rank games a
Yeah.
little bit, like games we've
but
gone through.
it'd have to be genre based for
Oh,
sure.
I mean,
sure,
obviously,
dude.
we'd be here for 2
Yep.
hours
Be here
more.
for
We already
probably.
almost
We already
are here
are
for
almost
2 hours.
Hour
so-
15. Hour
Close enough.
15.
Same.
Yep.
Well, we already learned earlier. I'm not good at math.
That's true. What?
That's fine.
I thought there was
How many
17
hours in a year? or whatever it
1,700
is?
hours in a
You
year.
don't need to
and
be-
there's
yeah, you don't need to be good at math
8,700.
for games,
Yeah.
that's
Right.
fine.
Okay. But with that, whatever. Maybe we'll release this on Spotify too.
Yeah.
Whatever. But this was we were just trying to get that video test in. Obviously, if you look back at our YouTube channel, you'll see we got NFL show, F1 show, again, hockey show. We've even ripped some sports cards on here, which will come
This
back.
guy?
That will come back. It's just tight out here. You know what I mean?
Really?
But it will come back. We're really excited about that. Hopefully, we're gonna bring you F1 in video form soon. But as always, like, comment, subscribe, follow us on Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts as well. I mean, you can get the banter wherever you want, pretty much. So
Biggest one's YouTube.
biggest one is YouTube.
Trying to grow.
Please subscribe on YouTube and
Oh, comment your top 5, by the way,
Do
and
it,
argue
yes,
why
dude.
we're wrong about our top 5. I
We
feel
know
like
everyone's wrong here.
Yeah.
Tell us why.
we already made ourselves wrong on
It's
this top
easier,
5.
yeah,
That's the
we're
thing.
not
We've
mentioning
already-
backyard
That's true.
sooner rather
Yeah,
than later.
yeah.
I'll take the dub on a couple of nostalgia studies there. So
Get,
we'll take that.
get the comments on there. Hit that subscribe button and come back and party with us another time.
See you guys.
Peace.
Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe. Tune in next time for more Banter with the Boys.